Look at that. You can see that they have 8 parking spots out front. They couldn't have been more clear about that. Here's the office. See, they used to make tires here. So they have a whole display about the old tire factory. I mean, I've looked at it up close before. And I was looking for a signature. I can't find a signature. Maybe it wasn't designed by the same person that painted it. I often don't sign my murals, and it's for that reason. Why a tire? And don't get me wrong, I love tires. And a hand-painted image of a tire is actually one of my favorite things. There's a used tire place down at the bottom of 83 that has a beautiful, very... that sign painter was old school. They just looked at a tire. They thought about how to break that tread pattern and how it catches the light. They thought about how to break that into the 2 colors or 3 colors that they were using while they painted that sign. Almost certainly working directly with the owner of the tire shop. And I really love that. I think you can feel that when you look at it. And it's a beautiful thing. You know what? This artist didn't do an image trace either. They drew it freehand. And then when they painted that tread pattern, they did a little crisscrossing move with their brush. And they even started where it fades out totally into shadow at the bottom. They even started with, it kind of doubles right there as smokestacks, which maybe adds a layer. But the thing I just can't get past is how not ovular it is. It's not round. It's got a big flat spot on the front. The inside shadow is way too fat at the bottom. I mean, at least from this angle. From other angles, I don't know if the inside shadow is that big of a deal. On this side, they did a great job with the lettering of Baltimore built. That's not so bad. I don't like the O. The spacing, the kerning could use some work, but it's not a bad job. And the Chenuit rubber on the smokestack, they did a really good job with that. I personally love the way they handled all the old factory buildings in this image. They did their shading with black. It's only a 4-color image, but they did a really nice job with that. And then over the entire picture, or behind the entire picture is a gray oval, which kind of does a nice job focusing your attention towards the center, even though it wraps around the corner. The oval kind of gives you an idea, if you're only looking at one side, that there's more to it. You know, when you have a thing like a tire tread pattern and you're trying to simplify it down to a more geometric pattern because you're going to paint it with a brush and you don't want to spend all day on it, you don't want to spend 3 days on it. When you're doing that, you don't want to take the detail and make it smaller, because from far away you're not gonna see it, you're not gonna feel it. If anything, you make fewer tread bumps. You make them more dramatic so that you can feel it. I mean, these things, people only look at them for a minute, less. They got to get it quick. It ain't bad. Here is a real test for any sign painter. And you can do this to any one of my murals, by the way. Take a look at the baseline. Sight long ways down the baseline. Do the letters line up? In this case, they do not. one of the O's is much lower than the others. And on this sign, whoever painted it, be they house painter, be they muralist, be they sign painter, they had a grid built into the wall. The mortar joints of this cement block wall. They could have just measured off of that. They could have said to themselves, my baseline is 3.5 inches below, 2.5 inches above the mortar joint. But they didn't know about that. You can see the tops of these O's pretty much line up, but the bottoms do not. That's really sad to me. The line is a little bit wobbly. The round outside line of this O, wobbly. It was done with painter's tape. They did their transfer however they did it, and then they taped off. And then they probably touched up. I mean, credit where credit is due. The edges are not fuzzy in the mortar crevasse. Letters. Here's a big thing about painting letters. Round letters go below the baseline and they go above the cap height of other square letters. That's like the second thing you learn when you read a book about lettering or sign painting. Old school graphic design teachers will fill you in on that. These edges are imperfect, but it doesn't bother me in the least. I like these. You can see the toe of the serif on that 7. That's not level, but it doesn't bother me. I actually kind of like it. I wish I had the balls to do something that loose. I personally can't. There's something that compels me to fix stuff like that. You might take a look at one of my signs and think, that's too perfect. That was done by a machine. And machine-like perfection, that's not why any of us got into this game. That's not why any of us were like, oh, okay, you mean I can spend all week up on a ladder outside of your tire shop? We didn't take that deal so that we could leave everybody with the impression that, that we are machines, that we are perfect. We did it because we wanted to help create beauty. I know it might sound self-serving, and it is. All right, well, the kid's awake, so I've got to get home. What did you think? Please like this video, drop a comment, subscribe.
Goodbye!